We're back. It is Tuesday evening, and you are listening to Soul Perspectives here on CKUT 90.3 FM. My name is Kim Dominique Ferguson, and I'm here with
Renee Jordan.
And we are here with Essence Revealed, who is coming all the way from New York City, Bajan born but raised Bajan? Born and raised in Boston, residing in Brooklyn, and received a BFA at NYU's Titz School of the Arts and an MA at NYU's Steinhardt School of Education. She has had quite the trajectory, and before the break, we were talking to her about the work that she has been doing in women's empowerment, and she was telling us a little bit about some of the clients that she works with. Essence, so tell us. I'm curious about your book, because your book has a lot to do with the women's empowerment and you becoming a coach and entrepreneur. Well, you're already an entrepreneur, but specifically within women's empowerment. So could you tell us a bit about the book? Because you said to us during the break that it's a passion project of yours. So tell us a bit about how that came about.
So the book, for me, is kind of a roadmap of how to get out of our own way. Within the book, there's a 21-day challenge for you to actually take the lessons that you're learning in the book and put it into action. And a lot of times, and I myself am guilty of it because I am a self-help book junkie. You buy books and you read them, and then you don't do the activities that are inside. So yep. I was hoping,
or you do them and it's sort of lost. Like you read it and you're like, oh yes,
I'm going to come back to that.
I highlight it, maybe write it down, and then it's like, I never did any of those things.
So I was hoping, because, they say when you learn things in different ways, then sometimes they penetrate your brain more. So I thought, well, okay, everyone who's into self-help has read many, many self-help books. What could I possibly say that would be different?
Yeah.
And I just thought about all of the things I had to grow up, the ways in which I had to grow up and be able to advocate for myself while working there. I felt like is a lot in the same way in which women in general, and especially sexual abuse survivors, have to build themselves up from the inside out. And so I wanted to help people work from the inside out in terms of building up their confidence to take action. And why not do it through a bunch of stories from the strip club? A lot of people are curious about what happens in the club. They have their strange ideas. There's like girls in the back either cat fighting or sprinkling each other with powder. I don't know. But I use the stories from the club to actually illustrate the points that I'm trying to make and get them into your consciousness in a different way.
And how would you say women can read this, or would you say it's only for women, or would you say that a man can really take this book and gain some lessons from it as well?
Men can read it too. I actually my test readers, I had men read it because I was curious to see what they would think of it. Mm-hmm. And so some men friends of mine who are entrepreneurs, businessmen, they found value in it. Even someone I was dating who had been an entrepreneur for decades found, I think he said that the chapter about making the big ask was the one that spoke mostly to him, because there's still a way in which he has issues as a man asking. For, the big price for the big product, or.
Yeah, that actually resonated with me a lot, because I've been an artist for over 20 years now, and I mean, everything from doing poetry shows to putting on my own big productions.
Right.
The price of the ticket, for example, has always been like a source of tension for me, because it's like, do I sell a ticket at $10 and hope 500 people come to the show, and then I can make $5,000, and that covers $2,000 of expenses? Then I get, or should I charge $50, because that's really the value in terms of the quality of the presentation and the production that we're putting on, and risk getting only 50 people instead. And so the asking of the price, and then your price as an individual performer, because how do you put a price on learning your own poem or learning your own burlesque piece, how do you put a price on that? And how can you say, okay, this is actually worth $1,000 versus maybe $100, or sometimes as low as $50 or $20, depending on where you're going and
I
and where
think
you're
it's a
performing.
matter of finding the venue and the price point that is going to get you to the amount of profit that you need to make, and not doing the show until you get that. Because I just don't believe in creative people putting all this work into a production to break even or to not pay themselves. Anytime I produce the show, I'm paying myself, and I'm probably paying myself more than I'm paying my performers because I'm producing.
Right.
You know, I know a lot of producers that will just not pay themselves so that they can pay their performers. And, you know, I was asked to produce a burlesque show in New York, and I just kept saying no until I got the money that I wanted to pay my dancers, until I got a place that looked how I wanted it to look. I just kept saying no until it was right.
Yeah.
And where did you?
Because I feel like, you know, part of sales for me is not being afraid to walk away from the deal. There's always another deal. There's always another opportunity. There's always another customer coming into the club.
I bet that the response that you get to that is, but I got to pay my bills now. Right? Because like walking away from the deal creates that fear inside you of like, well, yeah, there's this deal for $100.
What if one doesn't come along fast enough? What if you don't get that next opportunity tomorrow and the bill is due, you know, the day after?
Bill's due first of the month.
As someone who has not worked for someone since 1999, I say that when you have to do it, you figure out a way to do it. You know, one of the downfalls of having worked in a club for 10 years and then do burlesque all over the world for 10 years is I don't have a resume. Like I can't go in for a traditional job and say, hey, pay me $200,000 a year, because that's what it would take, or at least that, for me to give up 80 hours of my week, 60 hours of my week. I don't have a resume that says, give me that. Therefore, I've always had to create my own opportunities to make money. And when you don't have any other way, you figure it out. We're spoiled. We can go do this little job and that little job and cobble all these things together. And so I think that helps the fear to live, because you're like, I can just go do this office job.
But I feel
it's about the mindset. Oh my goodness. If I could pour into people's brains how what you put out there is going to be what you bring into yourself, whether you believe that you're doing it or not.
Well, then how does one change what they're actually putting out there? Or how do you lead someone into that?
It's effort. Knowing that you got to put in the work, knowing that there's one step forward, two steps back, knowing that the journey is lifelong. You know, I'm always joking around. I'm like, I've been in therapy for 20 years. Shouldn't I be fixed by now? You know, it's
a journey, not a destination, right?
Pardon?
It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah, you know, every day when I wake up, the days that I get up and I meditate and I get myself into the state that I want to get in, before I pick up my phone, one of the first things I do when I'm teaching a group class is, for the 6 weeks that we're working together, the first hour or two of your day, you're not looking at your phone. That first hour or two of your day is for you to get your head where it needs to get so that you don't get sidetracked from doing what you need to do. It's about having the consistency to schedule your day. I've been on quarantine since March, you know, but I have a daily schedule. It started off as an 8 a.m. call, but I am a night person, so now it's 9:30. But 9:30 to 11, I have a work call. She's working on something else at her house. I'm working on what I'm working on there. We keep the phone on and chit chat like we're in the office, but we're working on what we say we're going to work on. And then I have the rest of my day scheduled. I have lunch breaks scheduled in. I've been learning about the stock market. I am an artist. I have been curious about this for a long time because I worked around investment bankers and I've had lots of but I never had the time to really do it. So guess what I've been doing since March is 9 to 7. I am off work at 7. I have been putting myself through online courses. I've been in groups where people will answer questions. I joined a weekly class. So my day is scheduled. So there's none of this like meandering and just scrolling and doing nothing. You know.
But you also give yourself the time to
schedule time off. I put time off in first.
Right. Right, because that's one thing that I have friends who are, they're entrepreneurs and they're hustling hard. One friend in particular, he's an artist and he's got 2 or 3 businesses going and he's hustling hard all the time. And I feel conflicted in telling him this because it's like, bro, you need to take some time off. But I also understand that sometimes you just gotta go. You can't afford to take time off, but it's this delicate balance that you need to have between working and playing.
It becomes expensive not taking time off. I am a former workaholic. And it becomes very
What is the cost?
expensive.
What is the cost of it?
The cost is your mind never being able to settle, to even come up with a solution that could be way less effort. The cost is being a victim to this mentality that we have, especially in America. It's like slavery did a thing. Like, you have to just work. Capitalism is oppressive. You have to just work. Your brain never has time to think. I almost feel like this pandemic was a worldwide call to just take a break from working so much.
Yeah.
And some people have been in bed under their blankets crying all these last 5-6 months. And some people have been writing their next opus and everything in between. But people have, been forced to take care of themselves however they need to take care of themselves to get through this. And so such is the same as life. Like, I love, why can't I remember this woman's name? She has a project called the Nap Ministry. And she talks about rest being an act of resistance for Black people. If you just Google the Nap Ministry and go take some time and peruse that, you'll see what the cost of not resting is. When I'm quiet, when I give myself, and it's scary because I'm the type of person that's like, I feel like I got to put some effort in. If I'm not putting effort in, then I'm not coming up with a solution. But when I allow myself to have those times of quiet, the idea pops into my head like, oh, this is what I can do. Or an opportunity crosses my consciousness in some kind of way. Whereas when I was working, and when I say I was working, I had years where I was working from 7, 8 o'clock in the morning teaching, and then working in the club until 4 in the morning. And then getting up and teaching. Or there were years where I was in an office Monday through Sunday, 9 to 5, and then working 4 nights a week from 8 to 4. So I have worked years where I only got 4 hours of sleep. It's not good for you.
No. It takes a huge toll.
I saved a lot of money because I didn't have any time to spend it.
Wow.
But it is not good for you. It affects your memory. It affects your energy levels. It affects your...
Wow.
I have a godmother who's worked 2 jobs, day and night jobs, for years and years and years, and she's like, it has done so much damage to me, in terms of her body and in terms of her mind. Like, we need sleep.
That is a fact.
So that grind culture, sleep when I'm dead, team no sleep. Yeah, I'm done with. I can't. I'm nap ministry. I'm following that, sister.
Just in case you're tuning in for the first time, we are speaking to Essence Revealed about her life journey. She is an author, she's a performer, she's a woman empowerment expert, speaker, coach, and entrepreneur. We do have to take a little break, but keep it locked. You are listening to Soul Perspectives here on CKUT 90.3 FM.